Are you new to Blood Bowl or a fan of Blood Bowl and interested in Blood Bowl 3, the video game? I'm Controlled Chaos, and in this video game, I'm going to be going over what Blood Bowl 3 is and if it's worth you getting. And there are several things we're going to be covering, so let's go ahead and get into it. First off, for those that don't know much about Blood Bowl, it is originally a tabletop game made by Games Workshop that takes American football and puts it in a fantasy universe in Warhammer. And it has things like goblins and orcs and elves that play the American football with some slight changes. You can injure people, people can die in the game, and things like that. And each player gets experience, and you can level them up and give them abilities and things like that to make them a better player. So that's the base of what Blood Bowl is. Now, Blood Bowl 3, the video game itself, this is the third iteration, and they've made a lot of changes in this version. So let's go over some of those changes. First off, they've changed the way your teams level up. So when you level up your teams, instead of getting what you used to get, which is roll a dice, see if you get primary skill to use or a secondary to choose from, it's now just point based. So you build up these points, like right here, this Rat Ogre has 8 points and I've spent 6. So all I need to do is click on primaries, and here I could spend these 8 points and get any of these. However, if I want to get a secondary, like block here, I would have to save up 14 points to get it. Another change that they've done is they made it so that your stats that are over here, you can increase these stats. So like for instance, this Rat Ogre has no passing capabilities whatsoever. Let's say I want to make him so he's a bit of a passer. I just have to go over here to characteristics and I can add in that, but I have to get 20 points. Now, let's say you don't really care what abilities a certain character gets. They still have that in there. You can do a random choice, and that price changes depending where you're at. For instance, I'm on primary here. You can spend 4 points and get a random in that primary selection. However, if I go to a secondary here, it costs 8 points instead, and I'll get a random one from that area of secondary. So I'll get something random in agility. So it's still somewhat within the area what you're going to go, but you don't get full choice. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the other changes that they've made. They've made other changes, and those changes are to things such as, let's say, wild savagery. It used to be in Blood Bowl 1 and Blood Bowl 2 called Wild Animal, and basically worked like the stupid or dumb thing for ogres and trolls where they just wouldn't move. Animal savagery works differently. When you fail the roll, instead of the character just doing nothing, instead, if there is a nearby friendly player, they will attack that friendly player. Now, this attack can just knock them down, it can stun them, it can knock them out, it can injure them, and yes, it can even kill them. I had it happen in my last match. My Rat Ogre killed one of my players. Luckily for me, it wasn't one of the characters that had any levels on him, so I really didn't lose much, but it's still a pain. The good thing about this, though, is instead of it just stopping that Rat Ogre from doing anything, they then continue on and do the action you wanted them to do. However, you do have to reselect that action. You have to retell them what you want it to do, and then it just goes and does it. So it's a 50-50 risk there on what you want to do on that. Now, what I want to talk about next is customizing. There is a lot to customizing. There's a lot to choose from on this. And with that being said, when you go to customize, I'm just in the team. You got the jerseys that you can customize, and just like the original first two, you choose your emblem, you choose your pattern on your outfit, and then you choose the paint you want for the schemes of the main, secondary, and third. But there's more that you can customize. You can choose the style of cheerleaders you want. You can have them be a regular cheerleader, or like for here, I have the brutal cheerleaders that I could choose, and it basically changes their look. They're probably gonna add more cheerleaders later on. You also have coaches to choose from, and you'll unlock other coaches. I started out with this dwarf and this orc, and then later on, while leveling up my character, I unlocked this coach. But you also have stadiums and things in the stadiums you can choose out. Start off with a human stadium. I've unlocked the dwarf and the orc pitch for the stadiums, but there's more to the stadiums than just that they've done. They've done grandstands that you can change out. I've yet to unlock any other grandstands. And then they also have dugouts you can change. Staffing zones, like I've unlocked this staffing zone here for the underworld denizens, and then the cheerlead zones you can also change up. As you see, it shows you what it looks like, and that's really nice there. You can customize how your arena looks, from the pitch to the grandstands to the parts of the dugout, which is really nice. The other thing they've added into this that I really like is dice. You can change out the dice, and you originally start out with the common dice. I've unlocked these 3 types of dice here, and there's more to come. There's more that you can unlock in different ways, and I'll explain that later. But you also have different types of balls you have. You start off with this ball, but if you get the enhanced editions, you can get this brutal ball, but I've also unlocked this ball here. So you can choose the different type of balls your character will carry. You also get the motto that you can put in for your character and change at any point in time, whereas in the original it was you put in during team creation and it was stuck that way. You can also change the name of your team at any given point, which is really nice, because if you like a team you have but you came up with a better name, you can change that. I like that effect. Other changes you can do. Let's go to recruitment here. Or not recruitment, we're going to go into players. And let's say I'm going to go into this rat ogre. I'm in this area where you're selecting your secondaries. But in this, you'll also see that you have sustained casualties. So let me find one of the ones that has sustained casualties. This one has 2. Serious injury and MNG. Will miss next game. But serious injury also applies a 1% casualty player and will miss the next game. So the injuries will list here, but there's more to that than just that. You can customize your character more. You can unlock different heads, as you see here. And we're not talking reskinning the colors, because we already get the options to choose that. We're talking completely new model add-on parts. And you get more than just the head. You get different shoulder pads for the right and left. You get different right and left arms, as you see here, and there are completely different models. You get different body parts, once again, different looking bodies, and that's nice. Now, originally when you created the character, you would name the character. That has changed in Blood Bowl 3. Naming the character is done after you purchase the character, and you can rename them at any given time, which I like a lot better. I think that's a better move. So now that we've talked about all of that, let's talk about the actual gameplay itself. Being on the pitch, playing the game. The graphics look nice. Well played graphically. It works nice. Now, I have a high-end machine, so I haven't seen any lags. I don't know how it works on the ones that are closer to the low-end specs of the requirements. So that part I don't know about, but for me, it's been rolling along pretty well. No pun intended. Now, the sounds are also really good. You got good sounds. Each team has their own sound effects when they attack. Different types of characters have different sound effects. Things like that. You got the commentators making sounds. You got the referees blowing their whistles. All that sounds really, really good. The cheering fans, all good there. The coding part of it, the game engine making the game run, for the most part, is good. It's decent. It works well for the most part. There are some issues, and where the issues lie is sometimes the way it's supposed to work is it's supposed to do the roll, show you the roll, and then play the animations. Sometimes it will do the animation first, then show the roll, and they need to work on fixing that issue. And I can understand that's a bit of a hard bug to track down because it's not happening all the time. The other problem that I'm hearing about code issues is with the network code. Some people will get dropped during a game, and their internet's perfectly fine. But they are working on that. They have been working and doing patches to fix that also. One of the things that they put in to help out with that is the fact that when you do get dropped, you have 5 minutes to get back into the game. And the great thing is when you bring up the game and have that internet connection to be able to get back in, it just puts you right back into the match you're in. No having to reselect your team, reselect the match you were going in, none of that. It just puts you back in. Now, I do want to talk about settings. Let's look at our options here. So we have graphics, first of all. There's a lot here. You have the screen mode, borderless. You can do full screen windowed. You have globals, which is for the whole entire thing. Mine set to customization. You have draw distance, anti-aliasing, DLSS, post-processing, shadowing, texturing, effects, full foliage, which is the grass on the ground. How much of that you want to show. So you can really lower this stuff down, and it's not going to affect the actual gameplay, just how it looks, along with a resolution scale and a VSync, and then brightness is really good here, and then auto detect, so it can literally look at your machine and see what you have. But then we have gameplay stuff here. We have choose of languages, using of subtitles, display options for coaches, limit FPS when in the background, disable title screen cinematics, controller icons, so you can choose what you're used to. I have an Xbox One, so I like to have mine on an Xbox One. I'm used to Xbox. That's sort of a big thing for me because I'm used to those icons. I tested for Microsoft for 3 years. It's just naturally ingrained in me. But you can lock mouse in window. You can use the right click to go back, display menu tutorials, and then you can reset. But then you also have gameplay things where you can do things dealing with the armor break, other cinematics, default ball carrier sequence, action wheel display commands, action wheel selection mode. All this can be changed out, which is really, really nice that you can adjust this stuff. Hide comment actions in the action wheel, hide available actions in the action wheel. That's nice. It really lets you do things. The other things they have in here is you can show blood, never show blood, only on armor breaks, stuff like that. That's really good. Color shifting for difficulty, you can have this put in, which is nice. Disable probables, display dice rolls, which I like displaying the dice rolls because you can see it shown on the screen, and then there's a little chat box that will show up underneath that will show the dice and the actions taken. Tooltips next to the cursor, display tackle zone selection, skill cursor over per category, hide optional bars, just so many options here to go through. And then you even have the camera. You can invert the X and the Y's, the sensitivity and the speed, the accuracy, mouse edge panning, panning trigger size. That's really good there. And then you can also do things like adjust sound. You can do the main volume, which controls all of your sound, the sound effects, the interface, the music, the ambient sound, the voices, the cinematics, volume when unfocused. Those are nice, good setups. I like what they've done there. That's good. Now, I want to talk about monetization. This game does it with buying the game. You spend $30, so you're not spending the $60 that you normally did with the last two. That's different. It's now $30, but that's because they're going more of a games as a service style. So you're buying more stuff as they add more stuff in. But we're going to get deeper into that because they did that a bit with Blood Bowl 2, where they added more races. You could buy those races, or different types of teams. You could buy those teams. And so they're doing the same thing here. They're just increasing what you're able to do. And by doing that, they've added in a store. So let's go to the store and take a look at the store. There's a lot here you're seeing for customizations. We have a different top here. We have different dice, different arm pieces, different shoulder pieces, different head pieces, and stuff like that. You have other things you're seeing here, like player customization, factions, and warp stones. So warp stones is the premium currency. It's what you pay cash for to have a currency in the game. And it's about a penny per warp stone. That's a US penny per warp stone. That's actually really, really good. That's fair. So for $1 US, you get 100 warp stones. I like that. There's so many that are like, oh, you want 100 of our currency? Pay us $10. And I really don't like that. And it's some off thing where it's like, oh, pay us $1.25 for 100 in the currency. So it's not a almost close by straight even trade. Now you're seeing as it goes along here, like when we get to the $9.99 US one, it's 1,050. They're giving you an extra 50 warp stone. So they're giving you more. Same as you go up, it keeps on enhancing how much more you're getting extra. And that's fine. A lot of games as a service and that have this in-game transaction type thing, that's a normal thing. But they also have factions here that you can purchase. And when you purchase these factions, it's not just one option of a fee. You have 3 options here. And in these 3 options, you have just buy the lizard team. And all it gives you is the team itself. On that, you also have the standard pack. The standard pack not only gives you the team, but also gives you a bunch of customization options for the different players, which is good if you want to spend that money. If you want to spend even more money, it gives you a different color of dice and a different ball to use that's for that faction, which is really, really nice. And that was released in Season 1. We're in Season 2 and they don't have that one for sale yet. And there's a reason for that. And I'll get into that in a minute. But I want to show you guys the customization here. So as you see here, we're seeing a bunch of different heads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one faction. I'm going to choose Skavens because, well, mainly that's what I'm playing right now. So you see a bunch of heads here. And all of them have different models. But they're all 75 cents US or 75 warp stones, which is a nice price because in most games you'll see in there they'll ask for like $5 or $10 for the model to get access to this customizational piece. But you have like right shoulders, left shoulders, and they're adding more as it comes along. Okay, with that all being said, let's talk about the battle pass. So the battle pass, you spend 1,000 warp stones to get access to everything in the battle pass. Now, if you don't spend anything in the battle pass, you don't spend money and get the battle pass, you still get access to some stuff in the battle pass. Wherever it says like free here, you will get that as you level up in the battle pass. So like right here, when you hit level 3 in the battle pass, even though you didn't pay for it, they give you this helm. So they're giving stuff away for free. And the great thing is like right here, you see warp stones that you can get for the paid version. Don't worry about that if you don't have the money, because look right here, you get a free amount of that premium currency, which is really, really nice. But there's a lot of cosmetic stuff here. Now, if you notice right at the very beginning of this, you have a new faction that you can unlock if you pay for the battle pass, or what's called the blood pass. In this, you get this legendary team, which is really cool, but you don't have to do that, because we're going to scroll all the way to the end. And if you can get to level 50 within the time allotted, there's only 10 days left in this, but that's because I got near the end chunk of the battle pass being there. You can get this faction for free. And if you've bought this, well, then guess what? You get the customization part for that faction. And that's really nice there. You know, I mean, look at this. You even get this nice rock lava dice set for free. I know a lot of companies that, because this took texturing time, they would charge you for this. The only thing they give free is like, oh, we're going to give you a purple dice set for free, because that's easy to do. Select the color, done. We're done with that. Didn't take us much time. This actually takes artistry and work for the texture artist to create this dice. They had to go in and create the texture for the rock lava, and you're getting it for free. So I see that as a bonus. I also like the fact that they're giving you other free models, like this one right here, this body part for the dark elf assassin here. You're getting that for free. That took modeling work, that took skinning work, that took rigging work to get that put in, along with the texturing work. You're getting it for free. So they're not just having you pay for everything. You're getting some stuff for free. And it's not just in the battle pass. As you level up in the game, as I'm showing right now, you get stuff for free as you level up. You get new paint choices. You get new types of dices. You get new balls. You get new cosmetic parts for the different team members and stuff like that. And that's really nice. They're not blocking everything behind a paywall, which is what I like. And wherever they have on that you have to pay for is only cosmetics. Nothing affects the gameplay. It is not predatory on the monetization. It is not pay to win on the monetization. So what are my overall thoughts on this? Because it has some issues with the network code and being able to play online being the main drawbacks, along with maybe a little bit of the extra monetization. I don't mind the monetization. That's not a big negative to me, because they're not charging the full $60 for the box, and the pricing to me is very fair. The way they're going about the monetization is very fair in my mind, so it's not negative to me. It may be a negative to you, and if it is, comment down below if you don't like the idea of the way they're monetizing this. Let me know. Everyone has their own opinions, but for me, out of a 10, I'm giving this an 8. I have not found any bugs that really block me from playing the game or having any major issues. I'm finding a lot of enhanced features and change to gameplay based off of the new rules for the tabletop that they're following. And I like that they're following along with this. And the fact that it's a 1-for-1 for the tabletop version and they kept going that way and haven't changed is really, really nice. That's why I'm giving it the 8 out of 10. There's nothing glaringly bad about it. It started off worse than it is when it originally released about 9-10 months ago, but they've been fixing those problems. If I would have rated this back when it released, I would have given it a lot lower score. I would have given it more of a 6 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10 because we didn't know how they were fully going to do the monetization. We didn't have good connectivity. The network code was a lot worse. There was a lot more bugs in the game. They fixed a lot of those bugs. They fixed a lot of the networking issues, and they've shown us pretty much the full scale of how they're monetizing things. And I'm comfortable with how they're monetizing things. It's not predatory. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope it helps you with making a decision on whether or not you're going to get Blood Bowl 3 or not. Comment down below. Let me know. And if you'd like to see more guides and tips and updates on Blood Bowl 3, subscribe to the channel. Have a great day.